For years at Hot Tub University, we've been trying to find a manufacturer who could build a high-quality hot tub at an affordable price. We've been told over and over that it was impossible, but finally a manufacturer has stepped up. Let's find out if they've really nailed it. For years, customers have faced a choice when it comes to hot tubs. You can either buy a quality hot tub with glued and clamped plumbing lines, self-supporting shell, good insulation, and great components, and you'd spend $10,000 to $15,000. Or if your budget was a bit more limited, or you simply didn't want to spend that much, you could spend $5,000 to $10,000 on something, but you'd have to make sacrifices. You wouldn't get OEM components. You wouldn't get full foam. You wouldn't get a self-supporting shell. There were always compromises to be made. At Hot Tub University, we've been challenging manufacturers for years to build a solid, basic hot tub that checks all the boxes for a quality build while still keeping the price reasonable. And you know what? Someone has finally done it. What we're going to look at today is the Pure Instinct, one of the new Instinct line of hot tubs. Checks all the boxes. It's a solid hot tub that offers all the basic features you want without a bunch of unnecessary bells and whistles. Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the review, here's a little spoiler and here's the quick version. We were sent this tub for us to review. I tore it apart. I made sure it did indeed check all the boxes. Then I filled it up and wet tested it. And that was enough for me. I called the manufacturer. I said, send me an invoice because I'm keeping this thing. I put it at my cottage to replace the aging hot tub I had down there, simply because at this price point, at the price point this thing sells for, it has absolutely nothing in the way of competition. And it can even stack up extremely well against hot tubs costing almost twice as much. More importantly, unlike many brands you find online, such as Bueno Spas, Costco, Canadian Spa Company, and others of that nature, these hot tubs are not delivered curbside. They're not dropped in your driveway. They're not delivered onto the sidewalk in front of your house. They're actually delivered by the manufacturer's dealer network, and they're placed in your backyard. So you get the benefit of low online prices, but you still get good quality local delivery and support. And you've got someone local to turn to when you've got a problem. Now, we can't tell you officially who the manufacturer of this line of hot tubs is because they don't want them competing with their core lines. But I can say that they're one of the top 3 manufacturers in the US. And I have a feeling that this is going to become one of the worst kept secrets in the industry. All right. Let's take a closer look at this thing. Some of the things that make it such a great buy, some things which might be lacking a little bit, and how it compares to some of the other budget brands and even some of the higher price brands out there. First and foremost, let's talk about build quality. The 5 things we look for at Hot Tub University to grade something as a top-tier hot tub is self-supporting shell, glued and clamped plumbing lines, full foam insulation, quality OEM components, and compression fit jets. Does this tub check all those boxes? First off, yes, we do have a self-supporting shell. There's no sign of support blocks anywhere in this hot tub. Next, as you can see here, we've got full foam insulation, so we're covered in that regard. You can also see, if we look down here a little bit, you can see those clamps on that line. Every joint in this thing is glued and clamped, and you can see here where I took out a little bit of insulation so I could make sure that all the jets had clamps on the plumbing lines as well. Next up, we've got a quality Gecko control system, the INY-E3. It's a fantastic spa control pack. Good, solid, and reliable, and will work great for a long, long time. Next, we've got our primary pump. It's a 12-amp, 6-horsepower, 56-frame pump. It's got standard 2-inch plumbing connections. Over on the other side, we have our secondary pump, which is a 5-horsepower. Again, a good, solid, and reliable pump. So we've got great components in this thing. And you can see right here, here's another indication of clamped plumbing lines. One other thing to notice here is this reflective heat barrier, and there's full foam insulation behind it. The reason for this is to isolate the equipment from the heat of the body of the tub. That allows the components to run at a cooler temperature than something with perimeter insulation, which is going to trap all your components in a high heat environment and will shorten the life of your equipment. This is one of the major reasons why full foam is always at the top of our list for quality. All right, so we've got 4 out of 5 boxes checked. Let's take a look at the jets. We can see here that this is a compression fit jet. If you notice the gray neoprene collar around here, that signifies that it is indeed a compression fit jet. This means it doesn't have silicone packed front and back and a big nut on the back to secure it against jet-to-shell leaks. These newer compression fit jets will seal themselves if the jet housing happens to move, unlike the older two-piece silicone jets. Okay, so we've checked all the boxes for quality build. What's this thing missing? Well, first of all, it has a single LED light, which lights up the water really nicely, but there's no fancy LED pin lights all around the tub. This is attractive. It's not overkill. You'll also see a relatively basic waterfall. Now, I do like the positioning of it because for therapy, when you sit in that seat, the waterfall will go right down over your neck and shoulders, providing some nice heat therapy. It's not as fancy as some of the other waterfalls you'll see on other tubs, but it's definitely a nice feature to have. We've also got reverse molded neck and shoulder jets. These sit up out of the water and they provide massage on your neck and upper back. It's unheard of and it's fantastic to see this in a budget priced hot tub. One other thing that I noticed a couple days after I put the tub in place at my cottage, and this speaks to the energy efficiency of the tub. We've had a few nights here of below freezing temperatures, and I went to the cottage the other day and I noticed a very thin layer of frost on the cover of the tub. It was so thin that even a tiny bit of heat coming out through the cover would have melted it. So that indicates virtually no heat loss from the cover. And the sides of the tub were ice cold as well. Little to no heat loss means this thing should be super efficient. All right, what about performance? Honestly, I didn't expect great performance from this tub considering its price point, but I have to say I was very pleasantly surprised. The pumps are plenty powerful, the jet package is better than I expected. In fact, look, in terms of performance, this thing stacks up against some of the high-end hot tubs, some like the Jacuzzi J345 or the Bullfrog X7. That's quite a feat considering these tubs cost thousands of dollars more than this one does. The jet placements are excellent. Each seat hits a different muscle group. The jets are good and strong, and those neck and shoulder jets, they're going to give you a fantastic shoulder massage. So what's the verdict? Well, in case you haven't figured it out by now, the manufacturer nailed it with this hot tub, or should I say this line of hot tubs. Does it offer all the bells and whistles found in higher priced products? No. Do you really need them? Well, only you can answer that. But the real question is, are you willing to pay thousands of dollars just to get these features? For comparison's sake, let's consider a couple of other tubs that we actually recommend at times. At the lower end of the scale, you have the Bueno Spas. They're a tiny bit cheaper than these, but there are some things you don't get with the Bueno. You don't get full foam insulation. You don't get clamped plumbing lines. You don't get compression fit jets. And you don't get backyard delivery. They're going to drop it right to the front of your house. Are those things worth an extra $1,000 or $2,000? In my opinion, hell yeah. But that's always been the thing with the less expensive hot tubs on the market. You were making sacrifices with them. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, let's look at a couple of high-end hot tubs. Two hot tubs that we recommend regularly are the Jacuzzi J300 series, and the J345 is very similar to this hot tub. Another one that's very similar to it is the Bullfrog X7. What do those give you that this doesn't? In terms of build quality, if I put this right next to a 345, you're getting everything in this tub that you get in the Jacuzzi, including a great jet package. So what does the Jacuzzi offer that this doesn't? Touchscreen control, maybe a bit fancier lighting, and a bit of a fancier skirt. But you're spending $4,000 to $6,000 more for a Jacuzzi than you will for this one. The Bullfrog X7. Again, very similar hot tub. It even has a similar molding pattern. What do you get with the Bullfrog? A little more lighting, slightly upgraded control panel, and a little bit of a fancier skirt. You starting to see a pattern here? But again, you're paying $3,000 to $5,000 more for that hot tub. And in terms of the Bullfrog, in my opinion, the jetting in this tub is superior to the Bullfrog. So what we've got here is a budget-priced hot tub that can compete head-to-head in terms of build quality and performance with a couple of our most recommended tubs. Folks, this tub is a winner. If you're willing to sacrifice a couple of those little fancy touches like a nicer skirt, a touchscreen topside control, or a little bit fancier lighting, if you can live without those little touches, this, in my opinion, is the best value on the market. Now, having said that, if you have a medical issue that requires deep tissue muscle massage, then this is probably not going to be your best choice. You're better off looking towards one of the higher end massage spas. Listen, any hot tub is going to give you good quality hydrotherapy. So for things like arthritis, sore and aching muscles, and things like that, they can be relieved with a tub like this. But if you need deep tissue muscle massage, then start looking at something that gives you high-end hydro massage. For example, the king of the hill in that regard is the Master Twilight series. Another scenario where you might want to consider something else is if you're one of those people who wants to fit 5 or 6 people in your hot tub at once. Regardless of what the manufacturer says, this is a 4-person hot tub. It's comfortable for 4 adults, maybe 2 adults and 3 children, but it's not a tub you're going to use for hot tub parties. So if that's what you need, look at something with barrier-free seating and big open footwells like the Clarity Precision series. You can fit a lot more people in them because of the barrier-free seating, and this tub is not that. But for the vast majority of hot tub buyers who are looking at something like a Jacuzzi J2 or 300 series, a Bullfrog X7 or something along those lines, this makes far more sense unless you want to spend a lot of money for a few fancy features. So there you have it, the Pure Instinct from Instinct Spa. Honestly, folks, Instinct is going to be at the top of the heap when it comes to pure value for your money. It checks all the boxes for quality construction, and if you're looking for a no-frills, solid hot tub that will serve you well for 20 years, look no further. I'm Bill. This is Hot Tub University. Have a great day.